Gucci. It was a name that sounded so sweet, so seductive. Who wouldn't kill for that?
Can you keep a secret?
Father, son, and house of Gucci.
Mr. Driver, this is a brilliant, brilliant film, and I loved your performance in it.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
There is this intense physical sex scene between you and Lady Gaga. And I know it has to be choreographed within an inch and discussed, but how do you get something to look impulsive and passionate while also planned?
We kind of block it out vaguely. We kind of talk about we'll do this and that, but the way that Ridley shoots promotes spontaneity. He has minimum usually 4 cameras, and that one actually was not. It was mostly handheld, and I think it was 1 camera. I think it might have been the only time in the whole shoot that it was 1 camera, or maybe 2 cameras actually.
Wow.
And we blocked it out very vaguely, and then we kind of, I think, just maybe did it once or twice. Okay. And you know, Lady Gaga is very much in her body because she's a performer. And I feel I know where my body is, and on stage in particular, I think. So there was we felt really comfortable with each other, kind of going where we needed to go. So we talked about it and blocked it out very lightly, but then just kind of did it on the day and made sure that we weren't, bringing a filing cabinet on someone's head. But
it tells you so much about those characters.
Yeah, it does.
You picked a real firecracker.
She's a handful.
Bravo!
Paolo, you are Gucci, you need to dress the part.
It's chic.
This might be one of your funniest characters to date. The line deliveries from Paolo absolutely made me just break out in laughter. And I'm curious if that was even on the page, or is that something you decided that the character needed and Ridley sort of embraced?
Well, this goes back to Ridley's genius is he hires his actors, and then he has absolute faith in you that you can deliver. And there was a beautiful script, beautiful dialogue, but we did lean in on the humor and the heart. And I came in with lots of idiosyncrasies, lots of funny things, sheet and chocolata and other things like that. But I think we haven't talked about boof yet, but boof was a word I kept over and over, boof. But it was, it was that kind of creative experience where I could have made, we could have done a limited series just about Paolo, to be honest, because we were just digging up so much all the time. And I had a blast with it. I really did.
Paolo Gucci is coming. Paolo, why don't you have your own line?
These are just mock-ups.
I think, there are geniuses and there are those who either wish or think they're geniuses, but we all can't be. And I do think that Paolo was a gifted guy. He was a creative person and wanted to do something special with his life and share it with the world, but he just got marginalized by his family. He was never seen, never heard. So there was a lot of conflict there, but I fell in love with Paolo. I really enjoyed his sense of humor, the way that he moved and laughed and talked, and the accent. And for me, it was a dream come true.
We are a family business. Gucci, it is an empire.
There are story beats with Maurizio that reminded me of Michael Corleone, not wanting to be part of the family and getting pulled back in. Did you and Mr. Pacino have any conversations about that at all?
No, someone asked him about that the other day, just about in reference to his character, that it's just like a family, centered around crime and or where crime happens, but he didn't make the connection, and he wasn't thinking about it during this, and we never talked about it. No.
Gucci needs new blood. It's time to take out the trash.
I love getting a chance to speak with actors who are returning to work with the director. So I'm curious from your perspective, if Sir Ridley's process has changed since you collaborated in 2005. Is there any difference the way he runs his sets now?
No, none at all. I think he's easier now. Remember the first picture I did, Kingdom of Heaven, with him was a huge picture. Filmed in the deserts of Morocco and big stuff happening. This is a more intimate domestic piece, I think. He's also older, even more experienced, and this was, of course, a picture that his wife produced and had been working to get made for about 20 years. And so he used his talents to gather I think, a wonderful cast together, present company accepted, maybe. I found him more relaxed, funnier, and he was always quick. I mean, the great thing about him is that he uses multiple cameras, so you don't have to do too much repeating as an actor, which is quite killing, actually. So you can use the gusto of a take which is filmed from every direction at one time to lift the energy and the vibrancy of the scenes, which is fantastic.
Gucci is like a cake, and you have a taste, and you want more, and then you'll want the whole thing for yourself.
There is a moment near the end of this film that I would love to ask you about. It's Maurizio is at a cafe table, and it's right before he's about to get on a bike and ride to his office. And Ridley shows him smiling, very specifically shows him smiling. And our group spent 20 minutes after our screening debating the motivations as to why he was happy in that moment. I would love to hear your interpretation.
Well, I don't know that my interpretation is the ultimate. You know, I have my idea about it. I think what we were, the thought of Maurizio's journey being one that decisions are made for him in his life. He starts the movie as the most wise and distant. You know, he goes to school to be a lawyer, and he starts the movie saying things like, Gucci is like that cake, you know, you have a piece and then you suddenly want the whole thing. He's very beyond his years in the pitfalls of luxury and is uninterested. So how does someone who starts that way get seduced by the thing that he knows is toxic? It's because he falls in love with this exotic person that is so outside of his world, and who kind of is his lover, but also kind of a pseudo parent. And he takes control of the company, not because he wills it, but because it happens to him. His father dies, and he has no interest in kind of claiming the throne, but she does. And eventually he starts to become more and more himself, and starts to have faculty, and falls in love again. And that he starts to become, but even that doesn't suit him. So only when he is away from the family, he kind of goes full circle and back to where he was before, when he's beyond the business.
Right.
Is he really the most relaxed? Is he really the most himself? You know, and I think that was what we were trying to do with that scene. And there's no words. We just talked about it on the day and shot it and gave some ideas. There is regret for sure, and I'll try to keep this fast because I know you only have so much time. But finally, the tragedy of finally being a fully realized up until that point in his life person, and then obviously it's kind of too late.
I don't consider myself to be a particularly ethical person, but I am fair.
I'm dying to see you as Michael Morbius. You know, when that trailer dropped, it lit the internet on fire, and all this fan speculation went crazy. Do you pay any attention to that at all? Do you read any of that?
You got to be careful. You know, if you're the actor, you got to be careful, because, you know, if you dig in too deep, it can kind of maybe shock you or stun you into, into a place that you shouldn't be. But, you know, I love that people get involved with story. You know, as a kid, I was really into science fiction. I was always looking for, and even with music, I was looking for the message and the music and the artwork and the details. And so I relate to that a lot. I'm a fan in that way. And I'm excited about Morbius because, you know, this is a character who's never been on screen before. And that's harder and harder to find these days. So, you know, it was a chance to do something that hadn't been done before, and, you know, to step out in front and star in a movie like this, which I've never done before. So yeah, I Dr. Michael Morbius It'll be coming, I think, January 19th or something, pretty soon.
I wanted to jump ahead to this one. It's not the only film that you share with Jared Leto this year. You two appear in Zack Snyder's official version of Justice League, and I was curious if you were able to see the full cut that's finally come out.
Well, strangely, yeah, I didn't know Jared was in it. I haven't watched the Zack's final cut. I've got it. I just haven't actually put it on yet. Is it any good?
It's fantastic. Yes.
Is it?
There's a scene in particular that I really am glad they saved, which is Alfred trying impatiently to teach Diana how to make tea in the Batcave.
Oh, I'd like to watch it just for that.
It is such a character moment for you both. So
Good.